Alright, I'm gonna say first off, I actually like Star Wars. I enjoy the original films. The prequels I can't remember, and the recent films I've been really excited for, and I had mixed thoughts. We'll get into it though. But I just don't. Today we're talking about how the sequel and prequel movies fall flat trying to be the original, and how the original three, New Hope, it's New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. Those three films, how they worked, and how the sequel trilogy and the prequel trilogy failed to catch that magic that the original three had. Then we're gonna into 4 criterias. It is the exposition, scenery, camera, and characters. And before I start, what about the crawl? The crawl, it's basic. It's something Star Wars has done, but it's not something movies had done where it had some exposition dump at the beginning. It's been done by Spaceballs, Sailor Moon, Red Dawn, and even a skit me some friends made called The Force Can't Even right now. Go check it out. I'll have a card up here somewhere. Go ahead and find it out. It's not on this channel because my friends made it and they uploaded it. I'm not doing that. But yeah, it was. I think we made it. I think it was made when Force Awakens came out. But yeah, let's do it. Exposition. This universe is set up by exposition just by the crawl. It's with such things like Obi-Wan and Luke. When Obi-Wan saves Luke from the Tusken Raiders, and he tells Luke his heritage, and he's like, a young Jedi named Darth Vader, who was a good pupil of mine until he turned to evil, helped the Empire hunt down and destroy Jedi Knights. He betrayed and murdered your father. That exposition said, hey, I knew your dad, we were friends, or we were colleagues, and one day we were of the same order, we protected people, and one day he turned and killed everyone. I am one of these last survivors. He's Vader. Vader, we know from the first 5 minutes where we're not guns down, but like he cuts down everyone. That breathing, just by this. By that, we just know Vader. And it's paid off. Like that scene, or that exposition is paid off when we see Vader. We see him, how he interacts with people. Like that's something that was done. And it's paid off when Empire Strikes Back, when he meets Luke. When he's like, Luke, or it's like, no, Luke, I am your father. Or however the saying goes, because there's plenty of stuff on that. If it's Luke, I am your father, no, Luke, I am your father, whichever. But it's paid off. Not really by that, but it's paid off throughout the movies. We get to see how dubious, how threatening, when there's that scene with Grand Moff Tarkin and the other officials, I don't recall what they were, how he carries off the room falls silent and by a dime. It's great. Exposition can be good. It can work. Matrix, good example. It's got this exposition, but it's carried out by actions as well. There's this exposition talking about how he's the chosen one, but we see Neo throughout the 3 films be a hero, be the chosen one. Even though some people don't like the second 2, I've only watched the second one and the first one. I haven't watched the third one or the fourth one, whenever that comes out, but it's still paid off by actions he's done. And yeah. And then again in the sequels, there's exposition, but it's pointless. There's spiels about, oh, sand gets everywhere. I hate it. That's like the one thing I remember. Like, I don't remember any other exposition. Maybe about, have you heard the story of Doth Plagueis the Wise? What does that do? It does nothing. It just, here's how my master... Everyone's like, oh, you're Darth Sidious. It's not a surprise. And then in the recent ones, there's exposition being like, oh, Luke left the Order after this great tragedy, which I liked that. It was like, yeah, he had to build up the Order. He failed. He was distraught because there's no one else there to help him. And it's him rebuilding. But then it's ruined because there's like, oh, he's a hermit now. He's by himself, like Obi-Wan. But then he's just this hermit living on this island. He doesn't live up to the exposition that was given in the first film. By the second one, it's ruined. Exposition in that movie counteracts itself. And a whole jumbled mess. Especially with Snoke. Snoke was one of the biggest ones where it was like, we saw this menacing figure and all this. But by then, when he shows up in the second one fully, it's some damaged dude in a smoking jacket. Or snoking jacket. Pun. It counts each other. There is some good exposition talking about saving people and family. That's good. But then there's other exposition about characters, and then it's ruined later by actions because they aren't showing up to the hype by that exposition. And I know there's better videos talking about all this. I'm just trying my best, guys. And number 2, battles. In the original 3 films, what battles are memorable? And it could be some saber fights to war battles. You had the battle between Obi-Wan and Vader, showing there's this old guy, it's now this new guy having to learn his way, find his way to stop this great evil. There's the Hoth battle, showing how hopeless they are, and it's a great battle because it's white and you see figures. Very basic minimalist. The original 3 had very basic fights where it's here's these characters and then nothing else because you want to focus on the action. It works. It's great. The prequels, it's cluttered. There's Star Battles or Star Wars, but it's so cluttered. There's all the CGI, it's hard to follow. They tried diversifying it by the Jedi Starfighters, having them colored, you follow them, but it still didn't work. The original movies had Star Battles, but that's how they shot it, how it looked, how it felt. You felt claustrophobic. You were following the pilots destroy the Death Star, weave in through asteroids. You felt claustrophobic. You feel like you were there. It felt real. It felt like I was in a video game watching the prequel ones. I actually liked some of it. Like the first one, you have that fight between Finn and the other stormtrooper. It's him still trying to find himself, where he's having to fight that stormtrooper on Takodana, and then you look over and you see these starfighters coming. You're like, oh, here's the rebels, where they're kind of heroes, but still they don't want to be associated with. It's great, and I really enjoyed that. And then there's the battle on Starkiller Base between Kylo and Finn. It's great because it's the woods, it's dark, the only lighting is the moon and the sabers. Or no, there's no moon because Starkiller Base is a moon, I think, or is a planet, whatever. But yeah, the lightsabers, very basic minimalist. And then when it's the wide shots, all you see is that lighting, and it's great, it's good. And then you see it again when Rey fights Kylo. And if things starts falling apart, it's good. It was one of the better fights. And then you had the battles in Last Jedi, which were pretty decent. You had the not really a battle, but you had the trainings between Luke and Rey, where it's far off. You see them training on this lonely island, and then you have the battle at the end, the climactic battle between Luke and Kylo, where it's basic white, and then you see these odd machines used by the whatever they were called, the First Order, whatever bullcrap they were called. But they accented by the kick up of the underline or right thunder, however it was explained. So it wasn't snow, it was like salt or sand, but showed everything. Like, I like that. It was basically it was minimalist, and that's where the prequels failed, because then you had I think it was the first one where they're fighting the droids, the Gungans. It feels plastic. It feels like I'm on Minecraft, because like it was just flat. And then I think was there any battles? I don't remember, which were technically clones. I think there was one in Genosha, but it was cluttered because it was like Anakin and Padme, and then you had the Mace Windu Jango Fett fight, which is cool. That's all I remember. And Revenge of the Sith, you had the what was it? It was the Yoda Sidious battle. It was cool. You also had that Dooku Yoda battle in Attack of the Clones. That was pretty decent. You did have the Master Fire battle, which was great, because it was still fiery background to two characters. Basic. And I'm just noticing a lot of the battles, especially, really with, they got way better with the fights again in Rise of Skywalker. You had that water, or where were they? I don't remember, but they were the remains of the Death Star, where it's Rey and Kylo fighting. It was this neat battle of them using the elements. It was great. You also notice all these films have a theme. In the original, it was Earth, and then you had some snow, and then you had, it was Earth like sand, and then you had forest battles, and then you had in the prequels fire and sand, and then in the recent ones it was snow and water. Like this weird, it actually really worked. Actually, I don't know if that was intentional, but it happened. But the battles got better, but I remember them more in the original trilogy than they do the others, because they kept so minimalist. The recent ones were almost there, but weren't quite. It didn't capture right. Because everything was so cluttered, and there was everyone's other side stories in the recent ones, where we'd have that Luke fight, but then it would be interrupted by Finn and Rose's story, which isn't a bad thing. That subplot could have been better. I'm saying it now for all the Rose haters. It could have been better, but it shouldn't have been all in that movie. It shouldn't have been that fight scene. It should have been set up throughout. He meets, maybe after Poe and Rey, he meets Rose. In the first one, maybe she's the one that's taking care of him while he was injured. Because he's like, oh, I'm injured. But I'm all better in the second one, which it's future technology, so whatever. But they could have set it up more, and they didn't, and it doesn't work. It almost did. I'm defending the Rose Finn, the foes, I don't know, whatever. Then scenery. George Lucas balanced it with action. His action is widescreen shots. The first 5 minutes is a great example of this. It's the Taint of Ivy, so it would be 5. Taint of 4, where that you see how smaller Resistance is compared to the Empire. It's large. It's protruding. It just starts just for 5 minutes. You see the expanse of space and how planets are, And then you see Vader, which I talked about earlier. It just sets up so much. The sequels ruin it because it's all CGI. I don't know how much practical effects there were. But everything was so CGI, it put you out of the experience. It didn't help any exposition or any dialogue. Was just memeable. Like, you should called it Star Wars, the meme trilogy. I should have gotten some blue milk to review when I'm doing this. It also doesn't help with the scenery. With the sequel film, the prequels, everything felt too clean. There'd be these nice, dirty, rustic backgrounds, but then everyone seemed to like they were too clean. They weren't affected. Like, Padme's wearing white and she's not getting dirty, where she should be. The stormtroopers are white, but should be getting dirty. It's weird in the animated series they do this and pay that off more than the actual movies. It was weird. Something about Disney. I don't know. I'm not going to blame Disney on that one. But I don't know. And then we had the characters. Original movies had these characters who were memorable. Yeah, the young hero Skywalker, the wise Obi-Wan, the rogue Han Solo, and evil Palpatine, and a conflicted Vader. Even background characters were memorable. Boba Fett for what he got, Jabba for what he got, even though he was kind of an antagonist. IG-88, Bosk. They're basic, but they're so basic you could follow a journey without this added baggage they added to other characters where it was distracting. Jar Jar. He's supposed to be he shows up and he won't go away. He did get some more character depth in the anime series, but it was distracting. They're all, and it's what we call butt monkeys. You had that spitting, delicate guy in Phantom Menace. The new trilogy does it better. You had all these bounty hunters on Takodana, and they do nothing. It could have been this cool scene. It could have been Han's last hurrah, where he could have got a bunch of bounty hunters from Takodana. That would have been awesome. And then it's something he could have paralleled in Han Solo. He's like, he got a bunch of bounty hunters to make that raid. He's like, I did this one other time, and I'm gonna do it again, my last hurrah. Which, Han was such a great character, and then he dies. I actually don't mind his death. It was because they wanted to kill off, or at least give a good send-off to these original characters to bring the new ones, and then it's reversed, where it's like, oh no, we still have all these new ones around. What's with Leia? But some of these characters, Rey, started as a scrounger who wanted to do more, who didn't know didn't know her parentage, has these great powers. It's ridiculous. She's a basic Mary Sue because it wasn't something set up in the first film, except for when she could instantly mind read. It was weird. But then she can immediately, it was the third one. But she's immediately good lightsaber, which I give her that because she knows how to use the staff, but she could have had a double-sided lightsaber. And then the third one, she's magically able to pull down destroyers right out of the atmosphere. Something that could have been set up where she is more powerful because of spoilers. She's the granddaughter of Palpatine. And then you have Kylo. Kylo was probably the more interesting characters I actually cared about. He was this conflicted teen or young man who was from the light side. His parents were Han Solo and Leia Organa. He fell to the dark side. He did bad things. Got conflicted when he killed his dad. And then all of a sudden, it's this journey, well, not all of a sudden, but it was this gradual journey of him realizing who he actually is and returning to the light side by the third film. And it could have been spin-off into his own movie. He could have started the next order with Rey, become like the Bendu, which they set up and leave nothing with. They had Tom Baker play the Bendu. They had the fourth Doctor play the Bendu, and it was set up more in the animated series, which is aggravating. They don't put in the movies, because that's what they're trying to set up, I think, with The Last Jedi, and then all of a sudden they're all back. So it's not The Last Jedi, it's The Last Jedi, comma, for now. And I'm trying not to seem like I'm just ragging on the prequels and the sequel movies. I enjoy them for what they are. I enjoy the sequels for some of the background characters they had. We got some Jedi. We got to see what the Jedi were. And they were interesting, but they didn't get fleshed out. Which I wasn't expecting. You could have had several. They could have been a smaller order against the Resistance. We could have gotten more time. We could have gotten... We got some ways we could have gotten more ways to do. We didn't get any of this till what we know of the Jedi, till the animated series and the comic books. The sequels were better. I enjoyed the first one. I enjoyed Last Jedi, but then I saw its problems, and then I really enjoyed the Rise of Skywalker. So I watched it more. I'm like, I see why people don't like it. But I did enjoy it. But the originals did so much right. And I'm not saying that they're perfect movies, because there's some battles where just smack sticks together, and the Luke Leia thing. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Because there are stuff wrong with certain movies, like the Stormtrooper smacking his head and all this. I just want to see your comments, and hope you guys enjoyed this small essay. Hope I don't get hated. Like, comment, subscribe. Stay brave, stay faithful. Peace.